Hi guys, tonight in the evening news, Mathew Park. He did sometimes killing the weights. Alright, today for the table talk, we are with Mathew Park from Peak Mindset. Great guy that I've been talking for days and months about your mindset and positivity that you bring into the business. And I know that you were and you are still training.
Yes.
You won, I think, in bodybuilding.
That's correct.
A couple of years ago.
Yes.
And what I want to do in this interview is I want to see how your life went from farm boy to what you are now, because there's a gap between living in a farm, doing the haystack and everything, to like lifting weights and helping people with their mindset, getting the right mindset and stuff like that. So can you like just do a resume of from your childhood to now? So
Definitely. I'll keep it short for you, Steve.
Yes.
But I am raised in a farm in the small town Alberta, Canada. My town is 100 people. And so I began training when I was 12 years old from my Uncle Mike. But our actual gym was about 400 square feet. And it was mainly built from combine tractor parts. You know, when I see your gym, I'm like, it reminds me a bit of home. Not that obviously you have combine parts here. But, and I basically got the need because I was bullied in school. I was an outcast. I was very different. I was very skinny. I was 98 pounds when I was like 16 years old, so very, very small. And all I could do was just squat. I couldn't bench. I had no bench strength and everything else. I couldn't even do a dip, for Pete's sake. But I realized that, I wanted to be someone different than everybody else. I didn't want to drink. I didn't drink, didn't smoke. I just kept to myself. And when I was 17 years old, I actually did my first bodybuilding show, and I think I gained a few pounds. I ended up competing 120 pounds. I was so skinny, and I got last place. And I remember the feeling because all the guys were so much bigger than me, and I was like, I feel like I'm a small kid here. But it was a turning point for me because it made me realize that I'm not just a bodybuilder, I'm meant for something more. And from there, I always had this massive passion for fitness. It was like in my bones. I was reading magazines, I was reading books when I was 15 years old. I consumed almost every book in bodybuilding, probably 25 books by the time I was 18 years old, and knew stuff that most guys, 25 didn't know, but I never proclaimed that. From there, I went to move to LA when I was 18 years old, cold from a farm to LA, to pursue my dream, and I ended up working in a gym there for cash. And I ended up working with our magazine. I ended up working with Lou Ferrigno for a while. I ended up working with basically the magazines for a bit. John Ballack at our magazine, and but nothing really panned out for me. I came back to Canada, took a college degree at NAIT for 2 years, began a beverage club with my Uncle Mike called RE7, and then also began a bodybuilding federation called INBF when I was all 21 years old. And again, didn't have no connections, knew nothing, had no money. I was broke. I was driving an old Chevrolet truck. Parents had no money. So I was just trying everything in my power because I knew I could make something happen. And I never forget, Steve, my first bodybuilding show I put on for INBF, I had a 2-year plan of creating this first show. I had no money, by the way, okay? But I had clients and personal training. And I had to raise, I think it was $4,000, and I didn't have enough to pay for rent for that month when I was 21 years old. 20 at the time, actually. But I says, you know what if my clients, I could get them to give me money up front for a year and I could use that money as a down payment. I did that. I actually convinced 2 clients to give me 2 years up front of training services at the time when I was personal training, and they gave me $5,000 per show on. But when the show came, I told my dad, I says, Dad, if I don't make 10 grand, I have no backup plan. My credit cards are totally, done. I don't know what I'm going to do. I made $10,500 for that first bodybuilding show, and that was kind of my first stepping stone to being an entrepreneur. And then from there, I ended up teaching at NAIT 2 years on fitness business after I finished my my college degree. But my personal training career was not good at the very beginning. My first month, I made $200, and I was like barely making enough to pay for groceries and everything else. But I thought there's got to be a way to be successful at this business stuff. So I hired a mentor who took me. I couldn't even afford it, but I hired a mentor. And then I kept learning and digging and just grinding and hustling to find the ways. And I realized what's successful starts from me. It starts from me, and I never stopped learning. When I was 5 years later, I ended up making 20 grand a month as a personal trainer, and I was the only guy in my city who was 24 years old making that much without no social media. So I quit that and moved fully into my INBF and RE7 business. And I had tons of struggles, Steve. there were times in that career where I've been broke 3 times, you know. So I've been faced a lot of adversity, you know, of not having the money to put things up front, but you couldn't take away my resilience, my ability to actually succeed. Because people would say, when I was 16 years old, a guy told me, my family, my uncle actually told me, he's a different uncle, by the way. I said, what do you want to be when you grow up, Matt? He says, I want to be in the fitness world. He says, Matt, you're a nobody. Look at you. You're skinny as a rail. Nobody knows you. You're in a small town. You can't do that kind of stuff. And I'll tell you, I went in the bathroom and actually cried. And I was like, even today I get emotional because it's like, what I do I love so much. So when you talk about mindset, Steve, it's like, I realize that it's not about adversity for me. It's about how I can be of service. And when I realize about like what I actually do now, I do mindset coaching and business coaching for fitness entrepreneurs, not to make money for myself. It's because I want to see people change their life. I want to see their business grow so I can see them impact more people in their life, you know? So I can help, you know, drive that vision that I actually had. So I've been at this for 5 years now, and I've been very blessed and fortunate to be able to work with some amazing people in my life, but it's always been a grind. I never had things handed to me. I never had people hand over to me. When I came to Quebec, I knew nobody here, Steve. I didn't speak the language 4 years ago. My first step into a different gym here, I looked like an outcast. People were laughing at me, and I just kept pursuing and kept smiling and even if people were bugging me, I kept smiling. Mm-hmm. They couldn't take my smile, but I could keep my pride intact, you know. So with that being said, you know, it's just been a catapult for me where I've learned from mentors and people, like, you know, and I come to SSP Barbell and I'm like, this place feels like home. You know, I love what you built here, Steve. And I've realized that all this adversity and all these learning lessons for me have shaped where I am today.
I know that I'm writing, every Saturday I'm writing about Word of the Week on different topics, and what I have seen in years in the industry is a wind of change. Mm-hmm. And we see, and I have seen a lot of young people getting into this. I understand the term fitness industry, but I don't consider myself in the fitness industry. But I have like Caro right there. She's the next generation of trainers, and she's young and very, very promising in the field. But I always tell them the same thing, you know, it's talent and effort, basically that's what it is, you know. So you might have the talent, but if you don't put in the effort, you're going to lose at this game. Mm-hmm. And there is I don't believe in luck, and I don't believe in motivation. So I got, you know, Rotten Tomatoes for that, but I don't care. In the end, it's... Totally. You got to get up in the morning and work. And we had a chat like a couple of minutes ago before we get this interview done, me and Kao, and I told her, I said, if you want to work in this field, you're going to have to give free time, but don't give the free product. You know, that is something that I told her, and she said, now I get it. Mm-hmm. This is from my standpoint. What would be a good advice? Let's say the 20 to 30, let's say that you know, that range, because I always tell them, you know, the more you break your face in those 10 years, the better you're going to be in your 30s, and you're going to be like fucking awesome in your 40s, you know.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So this is my advice, and I mean, you know, don't lose on purpose, but if you're going to lose with pride, you know. I have that thing here, you know, earn your regrets, you know.
Totally.
So what would be your advice to the young generation getting into, because you had a hard time, I had a hard time, still do, you know, when you're a businessman and you're working in the field of strength and conditioning, there is a lot of gyms, you know, there is like the CrossFit stuff and, you know, all of these, but I don't really mind those guys, because I manage my business, you know, the way I manage it. If you like it, come. If you don't, well, you know, I'm not going to force you.
Totally.
In your case, working with clients on different, you know, like training or mindset, whatever it is, got 2 questions. The first one was, what's your biggest asset that you have that's going to bring people into this world that you're going to win at this game? And the other one would be the advice to a 20, let's say 25, you know, young trainer, 25 years old, young trainer that wants to start in this business. What would be your take on that?
I'm going to be right direct with you, Steve. what I see with a lot of the younger generation nowadays is they think it's going to come from magic in the clouds. And I feel there's so much conditioning on laziness as personal training. And what I mean by that is not that it's a bad or a good thing. Now, motivation, if I can say one thing about motivation, you're bang on. Motivation comes from massive action. And going back to your first question about, for example, trainers who are young, number one, you have to know where you're going. So where do you want to be in 6 months or 12 months from now? And then the second thing is, you got to focus on helping people. Most trainers are focused on making the buck. Now, worth and self-image all tie into a successful business at the end of the day. But if you don't know where you're going and you're just doing it because you want to make enough money to go and pay for your rent, you're going to last a couple of years and you're going to be gone, right? There has to be a driving force of why you're doing. And that's going to drive you to get up in the morning, like you talked about, working hard and grinding, right? And another point comes in here too is your sales process. Most people think the sales process is going to come clients are going to come to me. They're all going to come to you. You're going to have to get them. And that means a sales process that is a follow-up process, initiation process, lead process. And number 4 is never stop believing and dream big. Now, most trainers, they get competitive. They want to compete against that guy. Can I swear here? No, I'm just bugging you. Do not be competitive. Stick to your guns. Be you. If you're unique at your field, like there's no SSP barbell out there. This is like a unique breed of an animal. And the nice thing is, if a trainer comes and they want to build their clientele here, somewhere else, or an online business, do not try to compete against Joe Blow over or Sarah Joe over in this corner. Stick to your guns, be of value and service, have your vision, align to your vision, grind every day, have a sales process, and get to work.
This is great. I like the answer, Even if I don't like it, you like your answer, so it's okay. All right. Now, that has become, because of social media, I'm more conscious of all the media around us. And one of the reasons is the girl right there behind the camera. Because of her, I understand the concept of letting all what we do today, around the world. By that, there's haters. Yes. I have to admit, I love them. Free publicity, like cheap labor. But keep hating, it's good. And what are your take on haters? Oh, you're not good. What you're doing is shit. If you do this, you're low life scum. Whatever it is, I got plenty of message every day, and I answer them. Actually, they don't answer back. I take my time, to answer them because I want to know the why. Why do you hate me so much, or my concept, or the gym, or whatever it is, And people think that my life is, wow. Just this morning, I got up at 4:30, opened the cell phone, 7 problems. 7. Small shit, but I have to take care of it. And it is like, no, not this again. No, not that again, But mostly on top of that, there's haters. How you deal with that personally, on a professional level, on a personal level? How you deal with that? Because I deal on a certain way. That's my way of doing it. I'm answering them and, hey, guy, I like you. How you deal with that? Because obviously you went through a lot of that. Yeah. How you dealt with it and how you still do? Because probably there are people are, oh yeah, this guy,
it's a joke. Yeah.
Positive people we're getting banged because we're positive and we have a right mindset. But you have any? I don't like that term, but do you have any tricks? How you deal with that? So
where focus goes, energy flows. So if we're focusing on, maybe in your case it's the 7 messages. My case it's the 2 that came through, and I get them all the day as well. I'm focusing on the successes. So if I've got 5 successes and 5 messages, I'm going to put all my energy into the 5 because these over here are distracting me from the success. Now, the more haters you have, the better. That means you do something right. In fact, there's one of my mentors taught me about this years. Actually, Gary Vee. Good example of Gary Vee. And even my good friend Mike O'Hearn, he mentioned about that. He blocks people all the time. And he's. I asked him. I says, Mike, what about you? Because he always gets tons of hate mails. I says, how do you deal with it? Because I always go ask the guys who are great at it, I want to learn. I'm a sponge. And he's like, I block them. And I focus on, what I'm good, what my success is, the 5 people. If I have 10 haters and 5 people that love me, I focus on 5 that love me. So I took that advice years ago. And nowadays, like when I walk into a gym, I was just accused of being smiling too much in the gym the other day. Like, says, why the hell do you smile so much? Like, what's up with that? Like, can't you just have a bad day? And I'm like, no, actually, I make my choice to have my good day. Okay? It's my choice. And I keep my bubble tight. So that's kind of how I deal with it.
That's great. Getting back into the fitness world, right? Because here, obviously, I had an experience, all right? A lot of people know that I'm going out with Claudia, and she's ex-IBBF pro, and she won, and she said, next Sunday, well, two weeks ago, she said, I want you to come to train to my gym. So I'm gonna go, I'm not used to like big places, and we're downtown Montreal, and I trained, and I was freaking out. I'll be honest, I was like, oh Jesus Christ, what's happening to me? People, they were pumping, and I was doing like 2 reps, taking a break, sitting down, fat and overweight and everything, tattoos and beard, and I'm sitting down, I'm looking around, and I can see her, smiling at me, and I'm there. Wow, I've built something very different, in this industry of fitness. I didn't fit in that gym, but it was cool, actually, using machines after years and years, using. I saw different kind of people who are training for different results. Obviously, like probably 90. That's my take. I want to hear yours. 90% of the people who train now, I would probably take that number up to 99% are training for the wrong reasons. Out of those 99, probably only 1 are training for the good reason, which is health.
Yeah, totally.
All right, and I was sitting there, just trying to be stronger with tendonitis, lower back pain, everything is broken down, And I still love that, lifting heavy weights. But I'm looking at these people, and I'm like, why the fuck do they train, So what do you think, where the industry is heading now? Is it more of the body type image that we're trying to send, or it's more a health problem that our society has, like those fat kids, and which is, I think, sad, because when I was a kid, I was moving a lot, running, jumping, and stuff like that, and I see that they don't do anything anymore. But now, that being said, is the industry, I started in 1985, so from 85, to now, I've seen a lot of changes. Personally, I don't think we're heading in a bad way. It's just a different way.
Yeah, different way.
But how do you see that I would put a number, like I like numbers. So let's say in 10 years, where do you see the training industry go? Is it going down the drain? Is it going to be better, more choices, more strength, power, getting lean? What do you think? What's your take?
Well, I think it can go in any direction that we think it's going to go. I think that the one thing that I'm noticing that is predominant, it's becoming an issue with social media, I'm noticing with the industry, is it's obviously allowing fitness to grow mainstream, obviously. But I'm also noticing that anybody can become famous in fitness, really, if they got the body for it and they just go post. Which nothing wrong with that. Good for them. But the other thing is the quality. Like, you step into your gym, you've got 33 years of experience of quality information that is missing in the industry, and most don't even know a lot of that, Steve, right? Where you've got somebody who's got 1.5 million followers who maybe knows a 16th of what you actually know, but people think that he's the guru. Nothing wrong with that. But it comes down to, I think it's heading in a direction that we have to be more aware and conscious of what is out there, who we're listening to, who we're learning from, because we don't want to be directed in the wrong direction, right? And being safe about everything as well. So being aware and conscious of obviously who you're listening to, who you're learning from, and not forgetting to obviously learn from experts like Steve, like you have Ed coming here in a couple of days. Guys like Mike O'Hearn, Charles Glass, other, whether you're a strength lifter, bodybuilder, or a top athlete, but people who've got that integrity intact. That's very, very key. So the young people out there, I would suggest don't ignore those kind of guys. You know, I heard a really good story actually. I wanted to mention to you, Steve. I was talking with Michael Hearn recently, and he mentioned there was an expo happening, and he was laughing. He says, "Matt, it blows my mind." He's like, "I'm looking over here at Frank Zane, you know, because actually I called Frank Zane 6 months ago, and actually was it Frank or Mike? Maybe it was Frank who told me this, but one of the two told me the story." And Frank was over here at his booth, you know, at the expo. I think it was the LA Expo in January. And then there was this, I forget his name, Joey Swole, that was his name, who has like 3 million followers on Instagram. I didn't even know who Joey Swole even was. But Mike's like, man, it's like all these people would come in the door, and the lineup for Joey was over here, and the lineup for Frank Zane was 3 people. And I almost broke my heart, because I'm like, I love Frank. Like, Frank's a guy who's got tons of knowledge. And I realized, okay, interesting how you wouldn't go and listen to Frank or Charles Glass or you know, or an Ed Cohn, you know, as opposed to someone who's got all the followers. So I think the direction that you're mentioning about is like, we got to be aware as an industry of who we're listening to, and be aware of those things and stick to those guns. So where we're going to be in 10 years, I really have no idea, Steve. No idea.
It's I follow on that because it's hard. There's a tendency to, you know, that fat loss, CrossFit, strongman, stuff like that, you know. I'm more in the strength department, let's say powerlifting, weightlifting, rehab and stuff like that. What I see now is a trend of taking, I would say, dangerous sport, you know, because this is the etiquette that we have, powerlifting, weightlifting, and bringing these sports to I call it the regular population. You know, people want to try that out, and I think it's great. But I think that there are legends that we need to know about. You know, like when I was a kid, I was looking at Mike, you know, and I said, "Wow, I want to be this guy." But for me, my goal was to get stronger, and I need. Can you lift this or not? Yeah. I did a journey in bodybuilding, which I have to admit, I love the training, but I hate the diet. Yeah. Okay. I love to eat and drink. All right. But in the end, the goal, I think, is keep your mindset up. So, all right. Now, last question before we leave. It's one hell of a question. Give me 10 of your best advice for the next generation of entrepreneur in the gym. Someone who wants to open a gym. Not to be a trainer. They want to open a gym. And just to see your take on that, because I gave advices and sometimes I'm like, I think I'm hard on the kid, you know, because I'm going to tell the truth. It's black or white, no gray zone, you know. But I want to see you where, you know, I want to hear that. What's your mindset about this? 10 advice that
10 advice. Okay, 10 advice, so yes. You're giving this question to be on the spot and prepared, which is great. Yes. I love that. So 10 advice. The first thing about, now you're talking about opening up an existing gym or a brand new gym for like a first time kind of guy. First time. Yeah. Okay, the first thing is ready to work. Be ready to work. That's the first step, is be ready to grind and work and hustle. If you aren't ready to grind, work and hustle, then don't even begin the next 9 steps. So that's the first step, is be ready to work. The second step I would say is you got to cultivate. I go back to that vision piece. You know, most guys who open gyms, they want to compete against the guy next door, or they want to beat this guy over here. Forget about competing. This is the first thing. You do not want to compete. You want to create. And if you can create and you can cultivate, you'll be more successful. If you're trying to compete, you're going to go back and forth with gyms, and it's going to be a struggle for probably your entire business career. We don't want that. Okay? Understand your competition, but don't be like them. Okay? That's obviously a point as well in the piece. When you're cultivating your vision, think to yourself, how is my gym going to be in 12 months from now, 24 months from now, and 36 months from now? Okay? Plan out in advance. I call it the head of the snake technique, and where you want your vision to be, and then you're going to work backwards. So if you want to make, you know, $500,000 in your first year, okay, set the goal, work backwards. How many customers, clients, prospects, sales process, systems, your financial plan, your budget, everything should be fine-tuned into the process, okay? That's obviously part of the process as well. Now, I'm not really a believer in business plans, Steve. I'm more of a plan in the fundamentals of what it takes to build a successful business, and the mindset has to be on ready to grind, hustle, and work, but also having a good group of people supporting you. Very important. So your circle of people, that's obviously 3, is going to be your influence, your environment. Write a piece of paper all the people that you know can be of support to build your business, and make sure they're in your corner before you begin your business, because there'll be days you'll need to have a couple people pushing you along the way, right? And if there's, and you might only have one person. It might only be your partner. It might only be your buddy. And say, you know what, but sit down with this person, be straight up with that person. Say, you know what, I'm taking this vision to reality, and I just want you to know I may lean on you for a couple support here and there. Make sure you have some environmental support. The next piece I would say is your financial blueprint. Now, your blueprint, I always say work from the top and go down. Don't work from the ground and go up. That's backwards. So you always want to say, okay, if you want to make $500,000 or $750,000 or $250,000 or even $100,000 your first year, I don't care, whatever it is for you. Set the goal, work backwards, then figure your numbers out. That's a very important piece, okay? Now, when you do that, what it does is then you work from a creative mental process here. Because now you're okay, so say you want to earn this, but in that process, know your profit margins, okay? And if you are building a financial plan, always have money. So say you budgeted, you want to make $250,000, but you budgeted $200,000 in expenses. 50K is left. Make sure you've put 30 or 40, at least 10% extra on the side minimum, just in case of an emergency. Don't ever forget that, because you can be caught red-handed, if you don't have that process in place. The next piece is, okay, what habits have to be in play to build your business? What disciplines have to be in play? Most to say get up and grind, get up and grind, get up and grind. But that's obviously a broad, you got to have that belief intact. What I mean by habits is, what must you do every day to ensure it's going to be a success? Do you need to read certain material every day? Do you have to have yourself a coach? Do you need a mentor? Do you need this, do you need your wife or partner or people to be in place for you? So make sure that you, or do you need to have a morning routine to make sure you're always fired up every single day? Do you have to be in bed on time? These I know are overlooked pieces, but man, for entrepreneur, when I was building my beverage company and my INBF company, my habits helped me become successful. Because if I wasn't getting rest, if I wasn't able to, do morning routines and meditation or my learning, I was getting screwed up in the head, So it's very important to have routines set to enable success. The next piece, which kind of is a left out to lunch one, is you have to set creative time every week, multiple times a week, to journal on this process, to learn. And creative time means get into a place, you can be creative, to assess how is progress? Am I moving forward? Am I falling behind? What's happening in the process? Do I need to let go of somebody or move somebody in? You need to set creative every week, because if you can do this, you already got leverage above the guy over to you over here. Because most guys get their plan, they go all in, and then they'll make small mistakes, and it actually puts them behind. So creative time is very important. The other piece I would suggest is, okay, so you got those pieces, is really making sure that you kind of going off the whim here with this next piece here, but any questions so far, Steve?
No, the way you're explaining, I explain the same way.
Okay, good.
So I totally agree with you.
Okay, so tell me some of your philosophies.
There's that hustle word now. Everyone is hustling. I like to call it work. The way I do things, it's all about perspective. You're gonna laugh at that one, but I always say the same thing. She knows, because I say that every day. Life is shit. What do you do with that shit? This is what counts, So I'm gonna freeze it and I'm gonna play hockey with it, So this is the way it is. So I'm gonna take something shitty and I'm gonna play a sport with it, So I'm gonna take a shitty situation and I'm gonna put it for me. What I'm gonna do with this. First thing for me would be, you want to open a gym? Work in a gym. For at least, because I got that question this week, like Monday. Someone asked me, how long should I have been, after how long I should, take off on my own? I said 10 years. And they were all like, 10 10 years, 10 years.
Yep.
In 10 years, you're gonna learn a lot of stuff. Then put money away. That 10%, I do the same thing.
Perfect. Awesome.
Same thing. 10%, put it away.
Yeah.
You know, put it in the bank account, whatever it is, and use it when it's time. We've here at the SSP, we've built something over the last 40 years. It was rough, you know, getting up at 4 in the morning, you know, going to bed at 11, midnight, you know, worries, you know, are we going to pay the rent? Are we going to pay this? Are we going to pay that? But me and my partner, we paid everything. So we want to buy this, we pay it.
Awesome.
We want to have this bar, we pay it. So there's no credit or anything. And I think that's one of the number one, I would say, advice that I would give to these kids. Don't take any credit card or whatever it is, you know, buy your stuff, store it, store it, and you don't need, like now Rogue has amazing color plates, half the price of Eleco. I had Eleco because I studied at Charles in Rhode Island, and we had Eleco, and for me it's and actually what people don't know, like this gym is built the same way the Poliquin Center was built years ago.
Okay, nice.
We have the same machines, same thing. This is what I needed. This is what I did in my study after my bachelor degree. And you know, it wasn't overnight. You know, I mean, it's an overnight success 10 years from now. You know what I mean? Totally. So people are not patient enough. They want to have like right now. And patience-wise, I'm the worst. I'm the worst. And for me, I have to work on that. And it in time, I did better and better and better at getting more and more patient about, you know, the gym and getting money in and stuff like that. But your advice are right in my line of work. So now before we finish up, because people, they like to know what our lives are, you know. So give me a day. You wake up at what time? What do you do until you go to bed? I have two more things I'd like to ask, if I could. Go ahead. Steve. So, the first thing is with your gym question you mentioned about is your sales process. Yes. And the sales process is one that I found probably, if I could round up everything that I mentioned, is probably one of the most missing links that is probably misunderstood. And it's been actually shown in the statistics actually that like, for example, most places, either whether it's an independent trainer, gym owner, franchise, whatever it is, I always ask them, okay, when we get down to the sales part, what is your follow-up process with clients? New leads, old leads, current customers. How do you follow up with your customers through all angles? Most times it's usually 1 or 2 times, but what's actually showing now in the stats is that you need up to 5 to 12 contacts with customers to get an 80% conversion close rate on an actual customer. So we actually go back and we realize that, you know, if you're opening a gym, right, for people is write down your prospect list of all your potential members that could be part of your gym, and it could be 30, 40, 100 people, right? And then develop a plan, a sales plan. Forget about advertising and marketing at this point. Just create a sales plan, follow-up plan. How will you contact them? Is it going to be through a warm call, a personal visit, an email, a text message? Stats now are showing that when you have your sales call or you have your sales meeting with somebody, a text message actually directly after that sales call is one of the most effective tools to keep in their mind, right? So the sales process is one of the ones that I dive into probably more than anything whenever I work with somebody, is what are you doing and where are you spending money? Because most time we'll spend money on marketing and advertising and it's going nowhere. It's like a one-shot deal kind of thing, right? So sales process definitely was one. And the last piece, which is kind of one thing that I've learned the hard way actually, and I'm still learning about this, is you never know everything. You never know everything. And I'll be the first guy to put my hand up and say I'm wrong. I made a mistake. And I find sometimes entrepreneurs, I was one of them actually when I was younger, and I still find myself catching myself, is I shut myself off and I'll be like, I know exactly what I'm talking about, and I realize I'm my worst enemy. So I realize that's why I'm like always keeping myself in a learning mode of always finding out how can I be better? You know, what am I doing good? What am I not doing good? You know, who's better than me?
Or how can I be a better version of myself? That's why that creative process that I mentioned about is so important for an entrepreneur. So those are a couple of things I just want to add to it, Steve. Yeah, to the piece there.
What you're saying is very true. If you don't make mistake, you got to make mistakes
all the time, man.
And I learned to embrace those mistakes, because before I was getting mad at myself. I know I can make mistakes, blah blah. The more I do, the better I am, because it forces me to find solutions.
Totally.
And this is what most people, they want to succeed, but without any bumps in the road. Bumpy ride is kind of great.
Totally, man.
Shakes your ass, and you got to do something about it. So it's it's not that bad.
Yeah. Totally.
So last thing.
Yep.
So explain. I'm gonna do the same.
Yep.
Your day. What is a typical day for Matt? From when you rise up to when you go down.
That's perfect.
All right.
So my typical day, I usually get up in the morning at 5:30, and upon waking is meditation for 10 minutes. I don't even want to. Basically, meditation for 10 minutes right off the bat, and then I go into my declaration or my new version exercise, which takes about 5 minutes to do that as well. And then I typically I usually have my breakfast, but I'll usually throw on audios at the same time making my breakfast. So that's kind of the morning routine for me. I'm usually out the door. I usually have about a 2-hour window of being in the morning before I'll usually leave. I have multiple offices, so I also travel with my clients. So I'm actually on the road probably 3 times a month. Whether a client's flying me out to Vancouver, I'm going to go to LA, I got clients in Vegas. So, and if I'm going somewhere, I usually schedule like multiple meetings in one shot to make it worth my time too. So, so my days from there. So I'll usually schedule, like whenever I schedule weeks, I look at it very consciously to look at, okay, content day is Monday, client call day is going to be Wednesday, probably like you're doing, I guess, shake your head, right?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I really schedule that to make sure, because for me, bouncing my head around a lot is challenging for me.
Yes.
Like doing client calls, creative, where I just can't do that. But for some reason, I don't know, I just can't do it. But I find myself, I'm definitely more productive when I do that kind of stuff. And I also train in the afternoon. I usually train in the morning before, but I find my creative time is in the morning. So I really do a lot of my creative work, my like if I have to write letters or I got to do proposals and presentations for like doing a seminar for a client down south or in the west, that's my morning time, right? And so from there I'll train usually around 2:30. I'll end my day from usually there. I'll usually finish up with maybe a meeting or a client call at the end of the day, like around 4:35. Have dinner with the family, and then from there in the evening usually is reading time or doing coursework, answering emails. But I usually like to be in bed at a certain time. But the one thing that I've learned too is, this is actually one that saved my life, Steve, is I turn my phone off from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., actually 7 o'clock in the morning. And I have strict rules with my clients. I'm like, you only can communicate with me on this one element. I don't want you texting me and emailing me and like 4 different kinds of elements. So that kind of saved a lot of my time. So I have rules. And those rules have helped me keep, myself intact.
It reminds me of me. I get up in the morning around 4:30.
Yep.
I have a smoke and a vodka. No, that's so.
That's your meditation.
Yeah, meditation. So I get up in the morning. We have the coffee ritual at home.
Okay.
So for us, it's very important to talk in the morning. So we get up. So we're having about like 45 minutes for us, so we prepare the day.
Yeah.
I take my email because, like you, I shut down the phone around 9.
Okay.
I open around 5. She does the same. So, and then what's today? What do you have today? What I have today? What do you have today? Or what are you going to train? So, usually I leave around 6. First clients at around like 6:30. Here I come here for 6 sometimes, and then I'm gonna teach from 10 to 4 or 5, or do like what I do today, which I love to do.
Yep.
I'm gonna leave around 5, and when I'm home, dinner.
Yeah.
Put the phone away. We talk about the day. What went good, what went bad, trying to find solution for this or that. We're very, very busy, both our sides, because she's doing competition on her side, I'm doing my powerlifting stuff on my side, and go to bed around 8:39.
Okay.
I used to have like the cable, TV and movies. We have Netflix. We've been on the Bright movie, the new. It's a new movie. I don't remember his name. Will Smith.
Yeah.
It's been like 3 weeks.
Oh yeah.
Didn't finish it up yet because there's always something,
Yeah.
Plus we have the dog.
Yeah.
The dog is right there, sleeping. That's the beast of the gym. She's always with me, so we walk her at night and we talk. So the life changed a lot from TV to, and then answering like emails.
Yeah, totally.
Last one, email contest. How many emails per week you have about average?
Oh, that's a good question, man. Because I've filtered everything off to my VA. I think I maybe get. That's a good one, Steve. Probably. Can I go by day?
Yeah.
Like personally, maybe only 5 a day now.
Okay.
Like maybe 5. I used to get like 30, 40 a day, but now I had my VA in place. So
that's good.
And if it doesn't work for me, I just I just don't even answer it. Like they'll take care of it over on their end. How about for you?
Now I'm down to about 20 a day.
Okay.
I was like 45.
Okay.
So this is for me answering emails. I'm gonna answer. If you write me, guys, be sure I'm gonna write you back.
Yeah.
Personally, there's no like algorithm or anything. I'm gonna write you.
Totally.
Except on the SSP page, it's her. She's gonna answer the messages, not me.
So I have a question for you, if you don't mind, Steve. What would be your main, I would say, maybe 3 tips you've learned that would say your tips for building a successful gym?
The first one, find the worst location ever. All right.
Interesting.
And people are like, oh, you gotta find location. The more underground you are, they're gonna search for you. So it's kind of a search and find, search and found. And then you're uncovering something. Oh wow, this gym was here. I didn't know that. It's like finding a treasure. In the city. The second one, don't create any needs. People are creating needs. I used to be like that. I need this hat. I need this T-shirt. I need this and that. And I'll be honest, 99% of the wardrobe I have, it's gifts from people or companies. And I don't feel the need to buy anything. Except those Rogue T-shirts for a reason.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'll be honest. The third one, be kind.
Yeah.
Just be kind to people. I think that's the number one. I was an asshole before, I admit it, and now I'm a better man. I did a lot, and be kind to people. It for me, helping people out is something. And giving them time, or like the academy. I do the academy. It's a private, and she did her class today. We had 3 hours, and those 3 hours are the different things. Well, stick to the program. No, I want her to learn more.
Yeah.
So be kind. These are the 3 advices, and everyone is surprised with the find a shit location, because they're like, why? Remember one thing: the kind of gym we have here. With the BuzzFeed thing that happened a couple of weeks ago, the guy dropping the bar, the deadlift thing.
Yeah, that's right too.
All right.
Yeah.
So the further away you are from the big crowd, the more you can exploit real training, I think.
Right.
So, and the location we are here, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not great because you got to do some kind of detour. But you know what? In the end, if you really, really want to join a gym,
you find a gym.
You find a way.
Yeah.
You want to meet this guy, you find a way.
Yeah.
So location for me, it's kind of a bullshit thing.
Yeah.
It's find the worst location, and they're like, wow. And one of my ex-students, because he did all the levels, and he's on his own now. He's in Laval, in a place you wouldn't believe. It's like it's ghetto. Yeah. It's very ghetto, and he doubled his size.
Really?
Last year, I think, or this March or something like that. And thumbs up to this guy, you did great. So these are the three things.
Okay.
But I would say, like, number one on top of the list, be kind. Be kind to everyone.
Interesting.
People are not kind enough, I think. They're just be kind and enjoy the life. You never know. There's always, like a police officer says, there's three sides of the story.
Yeah.
Yours, his, and the truth.
Yeah, there you go, eh? Three sides.
And three sides of the story. So, but put that in perspective, it's like, find what people they're asking for. You want to lose weight. You really want to lose weight, or you want to train. You want to meet people. You want to enjoy. And we're gonna meet Lorna soon. She's right there. Why she chose this kind of gym? It's because the location, no. And she chose the gym because she saw me on the internet and she said, this guy is not bullshitting, and it is what it is.
Right.
But she has to do her homework. Mm-hmm. She has to train. She has to lift the weight. But I'm gonna be kind, you know. But I'm not like I'm not gonna pamper her. Mm-hmm. She has to do what she has to do, and it is what it is. Caro was doing the same thing for powerlifting. I remember clearly. She wrote me last year. She said, "Well, I think my lower back hurts." Well, this is powerlifting. Yeah. Okay. But it's not mean, but it is. Being kind is not like, oh, pity. Yeah, totally. For me, being kind is telling the truth. I like that. That's it, it's black, it's white, it is. People are bullshitting people, Are you going to have results? Well, if you train, I think you're going to have results. Yeah. Those diet thing? Yes, lots of there's. It doesn't work. Well, you haven't done it. Yeah. It's like follow the plan. Yeah, they go through it to actually experience it, to know, And you are right, because I think so many when it comes to training as well, is good personal trainers need to go through, like you mentioned about opening a gym and having the experience of working in a gym. That was great advice, Steve. I think with trainers or online coaches, a lot of them are just doing it thinking to make money. Yeah. Well, have you worked as a trainer for 5 or 6 years or 7 years or 3 years and been in the trenches and learned? Yeah. Or been, with a coach or a mentor who is also a trainer and learning underneath them. You know what I mean? So where is that experience before you call yourself an expert? Yeah. Right. So it was a pleasure to meet you here. You too, Steve. So we're going to have Lorna soon for the next interview, so I think it's going to be great. Excellent. Matthew, thank you very much. Pleasure, Steve. So guys, keep in touch with our website, sspbarbellclub.com, Facebook page, and Instagram page. Didn't forget anything, I think, for once. Good job, Steve. That was awesome, man. It was cool, man. Yeah.